Hey family, God bless you guys. So I had a dream a while back that I wanted to share, but I held on to it because of the things that this dream was about, and I wasn't too sure, and I didn't want to alarm anybody without a reason. I didn't want to step out of line. But the Lord has recently kept putting this dream back on my mind, so I figured it was time for me to step forth and share it. So, plus, he's been speaking to me a lot recently about martyrdom and persecution, and this is exactly what this dream was about. So, it was a while back, like a few weeks or so, maybe a month, that I've had this dream, or when I had this dream. So, I don't really remember it like word for word, but I have it all written down, so I'm gonna just read it and then go into explain everything that I saw. So in this dream, it was very, very interesting, and it was a really weird way that the Lord revealed this message to me. So it starts off, I was sitting in this hotel room, and I could see outside of the hotel room, like the hotel room was a regular room, but one side of the room, like one wall, was completely gone, and I could see outside into a highway was in the center, and then there was woods or a forest on one side and forest on another side. So as I'm staring out into this openness of this like wilderness area, this bear comes running out of the woods chasing a giant bee. So this bee was huge, like it was probably about the size of my head or so, and it was like a bumblebee. So the bear's chasing the bee, and like the bee was like just trying to get away from it, and I was like thinking like I was rooting for this bee to get away from this bear as I'm watching this whole ordeal of the bear chasing the bee. And like the bear or the bee would fly one way, and the bear was chasing after the bee, and then the bear or the bee would turn quickly and evade the bear, and then the bear would go back after it the other direction. And then the bee would turn quickly again away from the bear, and this kept happening like a few times, until at one point it seemed like the bee slowed down or something like that, and it turned too fast, and it ended up, and I was like, oh no, like the bee's gonna get eaten by that bear. So the bee got caught. It flew right into the bear, and the bear grabbed it with his hands, and as soon as it caught it, it turned upside down and starts chowing down on this bee, eating it alive. And it was like eating it from its thorax down, like its butt down. And like I could see the bee is in agony. It's alive. It's getting eaten, and it's like guts, like intestines and stuff was just flying all over the place, all over the ground. And I'm thinking like, oh, this is extremely raw and just vulgar scene right now. Like there's just guts and stuff everywhere. It's a mess. So like it was not easy to watch. So then something really strange happened at that point, because as the bear sits down, and it's just like all happy, like I just ate this bee, but I see the bee now in its spirit. I see the spirit of the bee, like it was see through. So I knew it was the bee's spirit. And the bee's floating now, like floating up regular, but half of his body is still going. But But so I knew it was dead and it was this spirit. But it looked happy at this point now. And it was this wind, or no, first this rain comes pouring down from, like, almost as if I'm seeing this through a screen or something, and off the side of the screen, this rain comes pouring down at an angle. And I've seen this before, so I knew, and I remembered when I saw it, or that I had seen it before in the dream, and I knew that this was rain from God. And I was like, but at first I was like, where'd that rain come from? That was weird. So the rain's pouring down diagonal onto this bee, and it continues to pour down on the bee for a while, and then it changed into wind. But it was weird because it wasn't just like, normally you could see wind blowing because you see other things blowing. No, like this, I could actually see the wind, like a physical manifestation of this wind. And it was blowing on the bee, and then it like took the bee, like it almost like it directed and carried the bee off into the woods and back into the woods. And the bee went off into the woods with its hands raised up, like it was praising. So I was like, all right, that was weird. And after that happened, after the bee went off into the woods, like praising with the wind blowing with it, then the bear, like I was still looking at this bear, but then the bear changed into a woman. So then the woman comes into my room, and as the woman comes into my hotel room, she's saying something about her husband, and I don't remember exactly what she was saying. But meanwhile, the whole time I'm like thinking like what the heck? Why is this bear in my room right now? Like, I'm trying to think, like, do I act like it's not a bear? Do I just kind of go along with this so it doesn't try to eat me? Because I know this is not really a woman, because it was just a bear a few minutes ago. And so like all this internal thought is just going on in my head, and the woman's talking, going off about something about her husband, and then I started thinking, I realized I have money in my room, but I wanted to go take a shower, but I was like, I don't want to go in the shower, because if I go in the shower, she might steal this money. So I went and counted my money real quick, and it was $336. So remember, $336, and I noticed that there was a safe. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna put this money in a safe while she's before I go get in the shower. But instead of taking a shower, like, I still just felt threatened by this woman being in my room. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna leave the room, go out in the hallway, and try to find one of my best friends that's like a sister to me. So I leave the room, but then after I leave the room, the woman's following me. The bear lady, she's following after me. And like I knew to keep my distance, so I'm keeping my distance, and she's still kind of behind me the whole time. And I just kind of like kept an eye, knowing that she was there. And I get to this room. I walk past this room that's a gym, and I could see through. There was a big open window to see into the gym, and I knew that my friend that's like a sister to me is in this room. And I ended up seeing her there. So I'm like waving at her, because I was trying to tell her that this lady's here, that this crazy lady is here, and I knew that she would know who I was talking about once I told her. And I see her walking towards me, so I'm like waving her down, trying to like make hand signals and stuff, telling her that this lady's here. And I thought she sees me because she looks directly at me, but she just keeps walking past me. And other side of the window. And I'm like, I know she had to see me. Like, there's this big clear window here. I'm standing right in front of her. She even looked at my eyes, but she just clearly missed me and kept walking. So I'm like, the whole time trying to get her attention, and but she was like working out or whatever, and just never noticed me the whole time. And then I woke up somewhere after that. So what I got from this, I did some research, I did some prayer, lots of prayer to get full understanding on this, because I thought I knew what it meant, and I needed confirmation, and the Lord confirmed that. And what he was showing me here in the beginning of this dream was about persecution by the bear. As we know, the bear is one of the beasts, is representation of one of the beasts. So Daniel 7:25, or actually Daniel 7:5 says, "And behold, another beast, a second one, resembling a bear, and it was raised up on one side, and 3 ribs were in its mouth between its teeth. And thus they said to it, Arise, devour much meat." So I knew just based off of that this bear was representing the beast, and when it devoured the bee, this was speaking of Daniel 7:5, and because we know that the Antichrist, the beast, will be given a set time where the saints will be given over to him, and the bee that represents the saints, represents even more specifically prophets, because we spoke about this before. I made a video about the bees and the prophets, even more so the Deborahs, before in another video. So I knew that this is what this bee represented, plus the fact that I was rooting for the bee. I was like you gotta stay away from the bear. I hope the bee doesn't get eaten. I knew the bee was gonna get eaten by the bear, but then I saw the fact that this bee, everything that happened after the bee had gotten eaten. So even before I get to that, I just want to give you some more confirmation on who this bear represented. So we see that Proverbs 28:15 says, "Like a roaring lion and a rushing bear is a wicked ruler over a poor people." So again, we know a wicked ruler would most likely be connected to the Antichrist, as he's going to be a wicked ruler. So then, the fact that I saw that I had $336 in this dream, I looked up 336. One of the meanings of 336 means taking away of life, killing, slaying, and murder. That would definitely be connected, again, confirmation having to do with martyrdom, the death, killing by the bear, persecution of the saints. So then we have Daniel 7:25, which says, "He will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times, and half a time." So we know that's talking about the first half of the Great Tribulation period, the 7-year tribulation period, as we know, as the word says that he will make a covenant with the people for 7 weeks, and that comes down, as most people believe that represents 7 years, and then halfway through that's when the whole Great Tribulation starts and all that stuff. So, but the whole period of that time is seen as a 7-year period. So even though it doesn't say specifically that it's 7 years, but I'm not really going to go all into that right now. So, but the good thing about this, the good half of this message has to do with everything that happens after that, pertaining to the saints, the martyrs. So Revelation 6:9-10 speaks of that, speaks of the martyrs. As it says, when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the witness they had borne, which also that talks about prophecy, but it's another thing. They cried out with a loud voice, O sovereign Lord, holy and true, how long before you will judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? So as we know, this is talking about the martyrs. So then, just a good thing to know in general, not even specifically having to do with martyrdom, just talking about persecution. 1 Peter 4:14 says, if ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye, for the Spirit of glory and of God resteth upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. So that's saying, if you're persecuted, which we will as Christians be persecuted, you will see glory. The glory of God will rest on you because of that, because you're being persecuted for his name's sake. So, and then we have Matthew 5:10, which says, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And then coming to the even greater part of this message, having to do with what I saw with this bee, that the bee was rained on. It was that the rain from heaven came down upon this bee after it died when I saw its spirit. And we know that two things rain can represent is the spirit being poured out and blessings. So then it went off into the wilderness with its hands praising. It was praising God. Even though it just got killed, it was praising God. It was in the glory of God, being carried away in the wind. As we know, that's the spirit. Revelation 20:4, which says, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, the martyrs, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. So we see these martyrs are going to reign with Christ in the 1,000-year reign, the millennial reign. So they are going to be glorified. They're going to be risen up into his glory to reign with him, because they died for his name's sake. They died in his righteousness, and they, in a sense, they endured unto the end. Even though they died, they endured and held on and were steadfast in their faith into the end. And because of them dying, having that sacrifice, going through that sacrifice, they then get the blessing of reigning with Christ for 1,000 years. So the one part I want to mention also at the end, the fact that I went to go find my sister, my friend, my best friend that's like a sister to me, and she was working out, and I thought she saw me, but she didn't see me, and I'm trying to tell her that this lady's here. That the Lord spoke to me and told me that has to do with those who will not be paying attention, who will be working, laboring, but in a sense laboring in vain, because they're laboring so much that they're not even in tune with the Spirit. They're not even in tune with the Lord is trying to give them sign, give them warning of, persecution of the Antichrist, the beast, or whatever it is that he's trying to warn them about, something that they're doing that they shouldn't be doing, or something that's coming after them, rather, that they're just completely blinded by their works and not, walking by faith and not just trusting in God, listening, following his direction. And they will, in a sense, miss out on that because I knew she was right there, and it was a clear window, which means it was being, it's a visual. God's showing you something. That's what, when you see windows in dreams, God showing you something. That's what that represents. And then the fact that she looked me in the eye and she just completely walked past me, and I'm trying to signal her, that's God trying to speak to you, and you're not seeing it. You're not being in tune, listening to what he's speaking. And I feel like he's saying that those people are working in vain, and they're distracted, and they won't see God's truth in front of their eyes. So let's definitely have discernment to not fall astray, into being so focused on works and not the relationship, so that when God had, the time comes that he needs to speak to you, and he's giving you warning or alerting you about something or trying to direct you a different way, and he's saying, hey, this, I gave you this work to do, but now I'm trying to end this work, this season, and move you into a different season. And pay attention to that, because you don't want to move out of alignment with the Spirit, move out of alignment with the Lord's perfect will, and just continue doing something when he's like, I don't want you to do that anymore. So that's the message I wanted to give you guys. Sorry, I went on way longer than I wanted to, and I hope everything was very clear. I hope that I pray that in Jesus' mighty name, that what needed to be spoken is received by those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, and who need to hear this message. In Jesus' mighty name, I thank you for listening. I love you guys. God bless you, and I'll talk with you soon.